Grenada signed the Samoa Agreement on Wednesday, hours before both the country's Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister suggested that it would await further studies on some of the clauses before committing. Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Andal said Grenada had a window before it signed the document and hinted it was using the period to get clarity on some of the clauses.
So there's a window for countries to sign. And I don't believe that, well, Grenada for sure, we are not willing to surrender our sovereignty to any international organization. And if there is any part of any proposed agreement that is inconsistent with our Constitution and with our values, we'll think very long and hard before entering.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell said he was awaiting the guidance from the technocrats on it.
I myself have not read the agreement, so I can't tell you whether the agreement says the things that people are saying it says. I suspect at the end of the day, our technocrats and bureaucrats who go through the agreement will best be in a position to tell us exactly what the agreements actually state.
But reports indicate that hours before the press conference in St. George's, Grenada's resident ambassador in the Kingdom of Belgium, Raphael Joseph, signed the agreement on behalf of the state. A Grenada diplomatic source told Carib Update News Thursday that the country is comfortable with the clauses of concern, saying it will in no way force Grenada to change existing laws relating to some controversial issues such as same-sex marriages. An official government release Thursday said the agreement represents the newest and most comprehensive partnership arrangement between the European Union member states and the 79 countries comprising African, Pacific, and Caribbean states. St. Kitts and Nevis was among the states which signed on Wednesday. Jamaica, which had previously said it needed more time for consultation on the agreement, has now indicated it is ready to sign up but did not give a specific date. Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, said the agreement does not require Jamaica to change any of the current laws. A Catholic bishop in Trinidad claimed that agreeing to some of the clauses in the agreement will mean that signatory nations will have to impose abortion legislation, transgender LGBTQ comprehensive sex education, and what he described as a whole range of different values. Dominica, which is going ahead to sign the document, said the concerns raised about some of the clauses by critics are not borne out by what's in the document.
We don't believe that the agreement, I'll say the Samoa agreement, that have been negotiated between the EU and the African and Caribbean states, which is a replacement of the Cotonou agreement. And when you go to the Cotonou agreement, some of these articles and clauses that are captured in the Samoa agreement are similar in nature. And I believe that there are really two areas where there is an interpretation of the language that would give one the impression that those things that have been pointed out are in fact in the agreement, but they're not in the agreement. And I want to draw to your attention and for the listening public, it's a 403-page document, and so I will draw to your attention to a couple of the areas that readers may want to go to and to look at and to form an interpretation of it. There's Article 29, which speaks to health. And you go under Article 29, you go to Section 5. And Section 5 says, the parties shall support universal access to sexual and reproductive health commodities and healthcare services, including for family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs. This is what the document says. Article 48, gender equality and empowerment of girls and women. And under Article 48, you go to Section 7. And this is what Section 7 says. The parties shall commit to the full and effective implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the Program of Action of the International Conference on Population and Development, and the outcomes of the review conferences. They shall further stress the need for universal access to quality and affordable comprehensive sexual and reproductive health information and education, take into consideration the UNESCO International Technical Guidance on Sexuality Education, as well as the need for the delivery of sexual and reproductive health care services. They shall pursue the effective implementation of the Montevideo Consensus on Population and Development as appropriate. As appropriate. And so some of the things that have been pointed out that are in the document are really not in the document.
It is widely believed that all nations in the Caribbean, including Antigua and Barbuda and Trinidad and Tobago, which have not yet done so, will eventually sign on to the agreement. The Samoa Agreement covers cooperation over the next 2 decades, including the promotion of social, economic, and cultural development of the ACP states. The European Union would provide the funding in the tune of billions of euros for all programs and projects relative to the agreement.